This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 139 of the Stable Scoop Radio Show. Monty Roberts, Equus Online University. Please support our sponsors as they make this show possible.
Our title sponsor is Omega Alpha. You can find them at omegaalpha.ca. This episode is also sponsored by Equestrian Collections at equestriancollections.com. Plus Uncle Jimmy's, and you can find them at uncle-jimmys.com.
Woohoo!
This is Glenn the Geek.
And this is Helena V. And you're listening to the Stable Scoop Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network.
Howdy, Helena.
Hi. Don't ask me why I'm in such a good mood today.
Why you're talking about Monty Roberts stuff today.
I am, and this is really gonna. I get to really.
That's my phone. Hold on.
Okay.
You think after all this time I'd remember it?
You know what? Thank God you went first because I got to turn mine off.
How many shows have we done? 130?
Oh, geez, Glenn. Really? We're a hot mess.
I know, and I've done a lot more than that, and I still don't forget to turn my phone off. Sorry about that,
You do
everybody.
it every day, several times a day.
I know, and I still got my phone on. Well, that just makes us human, Helena. That just makes us human. So, we're going to be talking to Debbie Laux, who is Monty Roberts' daughter today. We've had her on once before, but I don't think you were there for that.
No. It was an unfortunate time with my family, and I missed the Monty interview. Of course, I went back and listened to it today. But Debbie also, she's not just Monty's daughter. She actually manages all things Monty Roberts. And
yes.
She's the brains behind the business. And,
we had a seminar a couple of weeks ago that she attended and actually gave it was a business seminar, so it really wasn't about training horses. It was about business in the horse world. And she actually did one of the presentations that she was excellent. She is a very smart woman.
Yes.
And as nice as pie, too. You know,
and genuine. She's genuine. So, and what she's done is she is the force behind the Monty Roberts Equus Online University. And you know how difficult I am to please, let alone impress.
Or teach.
What? Wait a minute. We're gonna come back to that. Look, I'm being humble here, okay? I know that I'm difficult. I know this. I accept it. I even embrace
Your husband
it.
Standing in the back going, yes.
Okay, so Debbie is the force behind this online university, and I have to say that it's Monty's knowledge and training advice, but the delivery method is absolutely seamless. It's fabulous. And you say this all the time, the two of us and our ADD, I'm all over the road. To sit down at something and read through scores of information to find that one little bit that I need to get my horse fixed, it's really hard to do. But the online university that these guys have put together actually makes that not only possible, but easy. So we're going to dive into a little bit of that today.
Cool.
Yeah. Goodness knows I need it.
I will take it any day I can talk to Debbie. She is just terrific. And she's going to be coming up here in a little bit. But first, we have to talk.
Yeah.
All right. So Jennifer and I, we drove up to Columbus, Ohio last weekend, and we went to Equine Affair.
Yay.
And it was fun. We had a good time. First, we met up with Jackie. We had dinner Thursday night with Jackie Baker from Regarding Horses blog.
Yeah, yes.
And, of course, Jackie was our first guest ever here.
Yep.
And along with Jackie was Frankie and Sandy Lovato.
Oh, how are they?
They're great. So Frankie, of course, is a well-known jockey, and he was the inventor of the Equicizer.
Was he have a booth there this year?
Yes, he had a booth, and we got to sit on an Equicizer. We'll have some pictures of that. And actually, I feel privileged, and this is the first time I've mentioned this. There's one particular Equicizer that he's taken to shows with him for 5 years that's been signed by all the big names, including Monty Roberts. Monty Roberts and Clinton Anderson and, Pat Pirelli and everybody, all the big names have signed this particular Equicizer. And we should explain an Equicizer is it looks like a little horse. It's like an exercise machine for riding your horse.
Only it doesn't have the attitude.
Right. Well, I don't know. I almost got bucked off there. But they asked me to sign it too. So
No.
I am now a celebrity officially. I have signed the Equicizer, and there's pictures. I have pictures witnessing me signing.
Oh, good God. Now that ego's really just gone over the edge.
Okay, so I can't talk to you anymore because I'm special.
Fine. Get yourself another host and see who will put up with you for another 3 years. Oh, that's really, really nice,
That
Glenn.
was very. I felt very privileged to have been able to do that, and we had a great time that dinner that night talking to them, and you know, Frankie's just a joy to be around anyway, and Sandy, and they tell stories, and it was just a whole night of listening to them tell stories, basically.
Oh,
And,
that's really nice.
you know,
Where did you go to eat?
We went to a place called the Bag of Nails.
Oh,
It's this bar chain in Columbus called the Bag of Nails, and actually it was pretty good. It was loud, you know, like bars are, but it was crowded too because you know Equine Affair in Ohio is huge. They got a lot of people come to that.
yeah.
Just like the one is in Massachusetts that you go to. So we had a great time with them that night, and I learned something I didn't know. And Frankie's coming on the morning show. He visits us regularly over there to talk about racing, and I'm gonna have to talk to him about this next time on the air. He started 19,000 races. He won like 4,500 races in his career. He's been building the Equicizer and you know into marketing and also teaching a school to young jockeys. He has a young jockey school that he teaches also. Do you realize in all that time he never owned a horse?
No way.
Well, he does now, and apparently he spoils it rotten.
No.
It's a little Shetland pony, about 13 hands tall. Its name is Popcorn. So,
Oh my God, that's so cute. That is so cute and so sweet and so lovely because think about this. A man who works with horses his entire life finally has the chance to spoil one.
And he does. And apparently his shop where he builds the Equicizers, there's a little paddock behind it, and they've never had anything in the paddock. So now Popcorn lives in the paddock, and he can see Popcorn all day long. Oh. And then he apparently spoils Popcorn and feeds him too much, and Sandy's getting on his case all the time because he's just spoiling this little pony rotten. And I'll post a picture in our show notes at stablescoop.com. They sent me pictures of he and Popcorn.
Oh, congratulations, Frankie and Popcorn. Oh, my heart is just...
I mean, he will never ride this pony. It's basically a lawn ornament.
That's okay.
But they have grandchildren that they can put on the pony. But it was very funny listening to the stories of him and his first horse, and he like glows. I'm telling you, this is a big, rough, tough jockey. This is a big, rough, tough jockey, businessman jockey. 19,000 races. Broken bones all over his body, and he just glows when he talks about Popcorn. So it was just so darn cute.
That's nice to hear. That's really cute. That just made me smile, made my day.
Frankie and Popcorn.
All right, see, look, ADD, we went off on this tangent about Frankie and Popcorn.
I know, but that was one of the cutest things of the whole weekend.
It's awesome.
And then we did get to go, and we got to sit on the Equicizer and play around a little the next morning. We did a lot of shopping, of course, and of course I spent more than Jennifer this time, so I'm kind of like I have no grounds anymore. My horse husband attitude has like going to have to go away for a while because I bought paddocks boots. They had Ariat Cobalt paddock boots at Big Jim's. Was it Big Jim? No, it wasn't Big Jim's. It was Big D's. Had Ariat Cobalt paddock boots for $69, regularly $150.
Ooh, good price. The Cobalt.
The zip kind? Yeah. So we each got a pair of those. So we got 2 pairs of paddocks, and I needed new paddocks. I had Ariats for years, but they've squeaked ever since I've had them. They just squeak every time you take a step. And I talked to the guy there at Big D's, and he said, "Oh, that's a problem they finally acknowledged." And he said, "You can probably get those boots replaced." So he gave me the phone number. So if anybody else out there has squeaky boots, just drop me an email at glenn@horseradionetwork.com that you got from Ariat, and I'll give you the special phone number. And apparently, if you send them back, they'll replace them.
Wow, squeaky boots, huh?
Yeah, they squeaked every time I took a step, which isn't bad when you're outside, but when you're walking inside, all you hear when you're walking along is squeak, squeak, squeak. And everybody's looking to see who the squeaky guy is.
Squeak, squeak. Here comes the geek.
Exactly.
Squeak, squeak.
That's exactly right.
I don't think I've ever even seen you wear paddock boots. I've only ever seen you wear
sneakers. That's because they squeaked all the time.
So your new Cobalts do not squeak.
My new Cobalts, well, hopefully don't squeak. I haven't. I've been trying to break them in a little bit at a time. You know how that is.
What color did you get? Brown or black?
Yeah, we both got brown. That's all they had.
Okay.
But for that price, it's like we couldn't resist. And I got a new blingy belt. I've never had a blingy belt. It has a silver buckle and the whole thing.
Wow.
I tell you what, I'm gonna be like looking like. Well, you know what? Now that I've signed the Equicizer and I'm a celebrity,
yeah.
I need celebrity clothes.
Should we call Rachel Zoe to come style you, or Tim Gunn?
Probably more like what not to wear would be.
You know how much I want them to do a Horse Radio Network episode. You know this.
With the whole cast.
Stacy, Clinton, if you're listening.
Chris and you and me and Jamie and Jennifer.
We might be too big of a project for them, to be honest
true.
with
All
you.
those horse people.
They can turn around some pretty sad-looking folks, but I don't know. We might be a challenge that they're not ready to take on.
I'm sorry. I really don't want to wear high heels in the barn.
So
we also got to meet up with a few people. I missed Jane Savoy. She was there, but I didn't get to catch up with her. I did see Julie Goodnight. We chatted for a little bit. Julie Goodnight was hosting the one competition that goes on there, which is pretty cool. It's the agility competition.
Yep.
So we got to watch that for a while.
The most versatile horse or something?
That's it, the most versatile horse. That's right. And she was hosting that. And there was a lot of fun things. I posted some pictures at Horses in the Morning from that. So that was fun. And then I got to meet up also with Lynn Palm. So we had about a half an hour chat with Lynn Palm the one day, getting all caught up, because we haven't talked to her in a while.
No, I love her. How is she doing?
She's doing great. She's still in the circuit. She says another 5 years and she's going to retire. But she's still going strong. Her big bus is still out there.
Oh,
she has a big
good.
fancy bus.
Good. Is she going to come back on Stable Scoop
Yeah,
soon?
she wants to come back on. And actually, she asked, when are you going to have me back on? And I said, well, no reason we don't. So we'll try and get her on in the next couple of weeks in between her traveling and clinics and everything, and chat with Lynn some more. I know we've had her on once before, but I don't think it was for very long. So we'll see.
I'd really like to travel. I mean, if I had to get on a plane and go someplace to take a clinic, I think I would go to one of Lynn Palm's.
You got to see her at Equine Affair, didn't you?
Yeah, and
Yes.
that's when I first fell in love with her. I saw her do a demonstration. It was a dressage demonstration for Western riders, and it was when those it was a couple of years ago. But I was so impressed with her gentle approach. She has this gentle, practical approach, and the way she was introducing ideas while she was riding. I just sat there, and my attention didn't get diverted for like the whole 45 minutes. You know how hard that is. But yeah, she was really good. So I think if I had to travel someplace, I would definitely go to one of Lynn Palm's farms.
Well, let's see if we can get her on and see if we can get her talking about a particular topic. We'll pick a topic we want her to talk about, and we'll get her on to do that. Okay. Then the highlight of the weekend, beside my prize purchase, which was my Trail Boss mug. That's about 40 ounces of mug. It's huge, and it says Trail Boss right across it. Because now that I'm a celebrity, I had to have the mug, too.
I feel so badly for your wife. I do.
This is all Frankie's fault,
I do.
So the Percherons, they had the Prefert hitch there, which is a 6-horse hitch of Percherons, just like the Budweiser Clydesdale hitch.
Yeah.
Only black Percherons. And the biggest one, I'm not kidding you, was 19 and a half hands tall and weighed in at 2,400 pounds.
Oh, my God.
That was one big, we owned a big Percheron.
Yeah, like an 18-hander, right?
Yeah, little over 18 hands, weighed about a ton. This one made ours look like small chopped liver. That extra 4 inches when you got them that big really makes a difference. So
it makes a difference when they're 14 hands,
that's
too.
True.
I can't even...
That's true. This was one big horse. Well, they drove the hitch. Something we'd never seen before was they actually had that wagon. They came around the turn so fast in the arena during Pfizer Fantasia that they had the back end of the wagon spinning out and shooting up dirt. They were going that fast. It's the first time I'd ever seen him spin out a wagon like that. And apparently what I heard after from some people that know him, he's actually rolled that wagon a couple times doing that. But then later on in the show, the last thing in the show, the Pfizer Fantasia show, which was fantastic, by the way, he came flying out of there on he had a six horses, two, and two, and he was Roman riding the back two, driving the front four. Standing up on the back two. And you know how most Roman riders will have a saddle and it's kind of sticky? That's how they stay on. No saddles, nothing. Bareback with his shoes, standing on the two percherons in the back, driving all six of them.
Oh, my.
At a dead gallop around that arena. Unbelievable. It was a sight to see, let me tell you. And scary. I mean, we were all going, ah! It was well worth it. Pfizer Fantasia, I don't know, do they do that in Massachusetts?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Have you gone?
Once. The very first time I went to Equine Fair.
And I'm sure they change it every year.
They do.
You should go. It was fun. We really, really had a good time. They had some great acts. One of the guests...
It made me cry. It made me so emotional that the things that, of course, and they get the music there. And, I was all choked up. My eyes were burning the whole time because it was so beautiful.
It is. And our friend Reese Koffler-Stanfield did the dressage, and she actually did a freestyle test and to music, and she used Muppets music. It was so cute. And she had covered herself. She was in her, her fine outfit, with the top hat and the whole thing.
Yeah.
With her, tails on and the whole thing. But she had covered herself and her horse in sparkles. So
my favorite
she
thing.
had sparkled from head to toe on her face and everything, and she was smiling the whole time, and she nailed that test. And it was in spotlights, and she said, we got to spend a lot of time with Reese. We love her. And she said the first night he wasn't used to the spotlights because it was completely dark. They're not used to that for dressage tests.
Right.
So he was doing the test basically in the dark with the spotlights on him, and the second night he had figured it out, and he was fantastic.
Aww.
So she had a great ride. It was a lot of fun. And then the ones who led the parade of entertainment was the Canadian Cowgirls. It was a drill team out of Canada, all women, and we're going to have them on here in the next week or two. I contacted them, and we're going to have them on because they were so much fun. After they were done doing their bits, they were up in this. They walked up to the end of the stands, and they were singing and clapping and lead people and cheering. They were like cheerleaders the whole night.
You and your cowgirl drill teams.
I know. I find them all, don't I?
You really do, and you book them. You find them and you book them.
So it was fun. I do have to throw one particular lady under the bus a little bit. I won't say her name, but there was a lady that came in and during Pfizer Fantasia and had 6 or 8 minis in a round pen, and she does a show with these minis. Basically, they're just running free, and she does this show. It was a train wreck. Those minis were doing whatever the heck they wanted.
As minis do.
There were like 6 or 8 minis in there just go. The guy going around in the edge of the round pen pretty good. They got that done pretty good. But anytime they tried to turn or do something, they'd all just scatter, and they would just be.
That's
she
awesome.
had to be so embarrassed because this did not go the way she thought it was going to go. Let me tell you. These minis were all...
I haven't seen much work with minis in group situations. Have you?
No, not like that.
I mean, is it even possible? Did she take on the impossible?
Well, apparently she's done these shows all over the world.
Oh, okay.
But
so it just happened to be that maybe the planets were not aligned.
I don't think they were aligned that day.
Oh.
Well, let's we can get our guest on here, but let's talk about Omega Alpha first. Omega Alpha is actually our title sponsor, and of course, they have the all-natural supplements that we've been talking about for a long time here. Dr. Chang knows what he's talking about. He's been a regular guest on Stable Scoop. Well, they're going to be at Rolex this year, so you're going to want to look for Omega Alpha at Rolex, and they were there at. We got to meet up with the representatives from Omega Alpha last weekend as well. So you're going to want to look for them if you're heading to Rolex. If you're not, it's omegaalpha.ca. If you're looking for a supplement that's all natural, that will do the kinds of things that you expect supplements to do without all of the crap. These are the natural ingredients. There's no preservatives or any of that stuff in here.
No chemicals.
No chemicals. You're going to find, and he knows his herbs, let me tell you.
Oh, yes, he does.
And so I'm waiting. They're supposed to be sending me something for some stomach issues I've been having, and they actually have some human stuff they can sell in Canada, not here, unfortunately, but he's sending me some, so I'm waiting to hear. I'm waiting to get that to see how they work. But, I just can't recommend it enough. If you're looking for a particular product, if you're looking for something to solve an issue with your horse, look the look the natural route first with the concoctions of herbs that they've put together to help with different issues and problems. And you can find that at omegaalpha.ca. And then coming up, we're going to get Debbie Laux on the line here to talk about Monty Roberts University. But coming up, I have to tell you about the bumper sticker that I got from Uncle Jimmy, because guess who I ran into at Equine Affair last weekend?
Uncle Jimmy. Was Uncle Tommy? Was Uncle Tommy
No,
with him?
Uncle Tommy wasn't there, but Uncle Jimmy was there, and he gave us a bumper sticker that I have to tell you about. So you're going to want to stay tuned for the Uncle Jimmy's commercial today.
Maybe I don't want to. So welcome, Debbie, and thank you once again for joining us on Stable Scoop. You're turning into a regular contributor here on the Scoop, and I'm really pleased to have you, because we're going to talk about, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Monty Roberts Equus Online University is kind of your baby, isn't it?
I do like to call it my baby, just because I have to protect it a lot. But
do you need a mug? I have one that says Trail Boss. We could get one for you that says your baby.
I do. I need a mug. You know where to get these now, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I love your Trail Boss. I'm the boss lady of the uni. Yeah, that's it. I affectionately call it the uni, but I really should call it more Equus. I'm trying to get in the habit of calling it Equus.
Well, you know what? Uni sticks because I was going through a couple of the lessons today, and the narrator that you have also refers to it as uni. Did you know that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's like a stable name, with a horse that we probably shouldn't do that, because the way it was birthed was the fact that we wanted to be all about Equus, the language. And we felt like people were understanding natural horsemanship, and that's nice, and it's gentle, and we like that image, and we like the education behind that. But really, we were all about the language of the horse. So it really isn't about us or natural clinicians, natural horsemen. It was really about learning the language of the horse, because when it's all said and done, that's distilling that and translating that is what we were trying to do.
Let's back up a little bit for people who haven't heard previous shows. We're talking about Monty Roberts University, and it's something that you guys put together also, as I understand it, was really, he's not young anymore. He's not going to be around forever, although...
Yes, he will.
The way he acts, you would think that. He certainly hasn't slowed down much. But you also wanted a way for future generations to be able to share in his learning directly, which the video allows us to do now.
That's right. I mean, kind of we're trying to balk that feeling that he won't be around forever. The point I'm trying to make is that people were starting to divert from the language of the horse, which is interesting to me, because it just showed us years ago that people weren't focused on the language of the horse. And that's okay. How would they know? How would they really understand that there were languages amongst the herd, unless you had done like what Dad had done and laid on his belly in Nevada, and studied the Mustang herds. And then the interesting perspective that he has is that he gets to go all over the earth now and meet horses in the round pen. I mean, he doesn't get to train on them or anything. He really just meets them for the first time when he gets there to do a demonstration. And so you'd think, well, are there dialects, or, this language of the horse thing, does it work for those horses in Africa too? Or, what about those Brumbies out in Australia? Are they a little different? And they are a little bit different, but the language, the core language, like you and I are speaking English, all the same over the entire earth. They respond in the same way.
So are you saying then that the Equus University and the Equus Online University is teaching that language? Is that the goal? Okay.
Exactly. It's teaching that, but it's kind of like a translation in that our bodies aren't like horses, so we can't speak to them in the same exact language that they are familiar with, that they learn like babies out in the field with moms and each other. So we actually have a predator's body. You know, we have fingers that look intimidating, and we have shoulders square. We have eyes in front of our head, like a predator does, as opposed to on the sides of the head, which, you know, flight animals have.
Well, I'm actually going to interrupt you for a minute, because as we're talking about the reason that I really wanted to dive into the online university today is because there are different ways that people learn languages. I know that you can sit in a classroom and you can study grammar, you can study words, you can learn French, you can learn Spanish. But then there's also the immersion kind of learning where you just go to that country and you start to learn. And because you're actually faced with those language challenges, you sort of, or for me anyway, and I think for a lot of other people too, you tend to absorb the information and you internalize it a little bit more strongly or permanently when you have that real teachable moment. When you need to learn that piece of information, you really absorb it at that moment. And what I found with the online university and the simplicity of its use is that I can go from my field and a current problem with my horse. I can come inside or log on, find that problem, find that lesson in the online university, watch the video, read the notes, and get my answer right then and there. And one of the things that I did learn was, oh my gosh, my fingers are doing some kind of talking. I had no idea I was saying this. My eyes, where my eyes were looking, I'm making direct eye contact with my horse. Oh my gosh, what a problem that is. And so, boom, problem solved. And I think the ability to compartmentalize these lessons, the way they're organized, is a huge factor in how effective the online university is.
Great, that's good feedback. Thank you. It is. That's what we're hoping to get even better at. And one interesting thing you said is we're trying to address the different kinds of learners. Audios. We've got audios. We've got the visual, of course. We've got the lesson notes. Each one has a collapsible lesson note to the right of the video screen that you're playing on that particular moment. And we thought, you know, people are going to want to come back to these things over and over and over again. So it's just total access. When somebody has access to the university, it's everywhere, 24/7, all the time. So just like you said, some people might say, well, I don't have that problem. I can catch my horse in the pasture. Yeah, but by next week, you might have a horse come into your life that you can't catch in the pasture. And we want this an ongoing learning. Or horses suddenly stop loading in the trailer, you know, and have problems. They hit their head, or, you know, and they're into pressure animals. So that can create and manifest into other situations. So I'm so glad to hear, though, that it is solving issues for you. We had a lady on a trailer, speaking of fingers like that, who could not load her horse on the trailer, and she came to the demo and with that problem and was easily overcome. The horse loaded right on the trailer. So we were saying, well, show us what you do, because that horse. And she picked up the rope in the dirt, and she was particular about her fingers, and she would rub her fingers together as she's not looking at the horse. She's walking straight into the trailer with leadership, and that horse wouldn't follow her. But those little fingers were flicking the sand off of her fingers, and that was enough for the horse to go, no, I'm not going to. That's too scary. And it's really survival instincts that you're reading off the horse. It's nothing wrong with what you're doing, like the eyes on eyes. That's just the way they communicate. Eyes on eyes is a go away.
And it's the you know, I think one of the things that I found intimidating about the whole the Monty Roberts universe and Join Up is that it sounded a lot like a religion. It sounded like you know, the language of the horse, and that it was so broad that really, how is this going to give me tools for everyday living? You know, it's nice to have a philosophy, but give me a toolkit, give me something to take away with. And the videos that are played, that it is very practical. You know, your dad talks about, okay, to solve this problem, you need to speak in the language of the horse. But then you dive into that. You go down a level into the very details, like you said, of posture and fingers and intent. But there's also this, there is that spiritual side, and that's intent. That's the only thing I haven't been able to find in the online university is how do you, are there lessons that are coming up that discuss the different kinds of intent, or have I just missed them?
The intent, you mean the intent that the person has when they're training?
Yeah, for example, I'm going out to catch my horse, and he's like, yeah, no, I don't think so. And, I'm thinking, well, my intent is that I just want to catch you and get on and have a nice little walk. I don't even want to make you work hard. I just want to make friends and do nice, So I'm thinking, well, my intent is all very good. So there's this concept of intent, which I would like to see more of. How can we find?
Yeah, I think the intent that horses read in our faces may be different than what we're trying to try to communicate.
I know it's that way with my wife, Debbie.
Yeah, a lot of this, there's parallels, Glenn. You'll might want to take note on that. And violence is never the answer.
That's right.
That's what we always say.
She's beating me up all the time, Debbie. Trust me.
Yeah, we like to think that dogs actually, I think, read human faces probably better than almost any animal that we normally interact with. But horses are right behind them. They really read our intent to treat them fairly. But on the other hand, they're just like a kid that when you say it's time to go to bed, they're not that interested in going to bed. And it doesn't mean that they think you're going to hurt them about it or anything, but they're just not that interested in it. When you're out in a field, they're just not that interested in being caught up, to use that example too. Just not that interested. But once you
they have an intent too, and it doesn't involve you.
It involves that patch of grass out there.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. And relaxation and no. Do you see Jason in the pasture then, that pasture joined up?
I loved it. It was.
Isn't that fun? He's like Glenn. He just totally submits his ego, and is a great student. He really is. Working around all these women. We've got this wonderful man from Canada who is there to take an advanced course, Jason. And we said, who would volunteer? And everybody backed up like 5 steps, And he was a real gamer. And he said, no, I'd love to see what Monty does in the pasture with this. I don't get this. Don't catch your horse. Let your horse catch you. What's up with that? And it's all about the horses being curious about you and your leadership out there. So we call it a pasture join up. You look them down and you push them away, and then pretty soon you turn around and here they come. So, there's some more skeptical than others, and it's a fun lesson, but it tells you a lot about intent. Your intent was just to go out there and catch that horse up. Their intent was freedom, freedom, freedom. Are you kidding? And so you've got to get them to a point where they're curious about what you're up to, and that sounds more interesting than just hanging out in the field. Right?
Somebody I saw do that better than anybody I've ever seen do it, Debbie, is Michael Richardson. Do you know Michael? He's a trainer out of Texas in the wheelchair. He was paralyzed from the waist down forever ago when he was 19. And he's an excellent natural horsemanship trainer. And he did the Equine Affairs circuit for a while, and that's where I met him. I've known him for years. He's a heck of a trainer, but I saw him in a round pen with a horse that had not been handled before. He's in a wheelchair, pushing himself through the sand, if you can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
And he had the arms the size of tree trunks. And in a matter of 15 minutes, just by his demeanor, that horse was coming over to the wheelchair. Now, you're adding a wheelchair into the mix, which has got to be scary.
Sure.
The horse was coming over. By the end of the hour, that horse was hanging over the back of the wheelchair. And, it was an incredible thing to watch, and especially incredible when you added that whole dimension. He couldn't get around in that sand. He couldn't, couldn't move. That horse had to come to him. Yeah. And it was a neat thing to watch.
So his body language was predatorial at some point, looked like driving away, and then allowed that horse to come back into him then.
Yes, exactly. He would turn the wheelchair, and he would face away from the horse. Anytime, just what you're saying, only add a wheelchair into it.
Yeah, amazing.
It was amazing to watch, and your dad does that all the time, but you kind of almost expect it from him. So you're right. When you get to see other people doing it that have been taught that way, it is then it even becomes more amazing to watch.
But they already know the language. They speak the language. They were, it's almost like they were born in the country in which the language is, that's the native language.
You know what I found interesting, if I can throw it in here? And I told Alina I'd let her lead this one in here. I'm sorry, Alina.
No, it's okay. Go with it.
What I found interesting was I haven't never had any real formal training. What I learned from Jennifer, which I guess you could call formal training. It's probably as formal as it gets when you're the horse husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I was amazed when I watched some of the videos this morning how much I learned and I'm doing correctly from Jennifer. So, that actually kind of surprised me because when you don't have quote-unquote formal training, you assume you're doing it wrong. Everybody, that's just natural. We assume we're not doing it right.
Yeah.
But when I watched some of the videos on catching horses and all that stuff, I went, wow, I've learned a lot from my wife.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, that is nice. And the affirmation is just as important to take you in the right direction. That's how we hope the concepts evolve, because Dad says that he doesn't want any of his students to be better than he is. He wants all of them to be a lot better. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely clear in his presentation in the video and the way he teaches that his goal is to impart the knowledge. It's not to show off. It's not to say, it's not to make money. It's to say, I really want you to understand what I understand, because life is so beautiful when you understand this.
Yeah.
And
then, of course, he does it in the Monty Roberts way.
You really can't take the celebrity away from him, because there are some people who are just so
well, he's just charismatic.
And gifted at certain things.
I think he communicates it really well, and I think that's the biggest advantage we have, is that he speaks in simple words, simple language, which helps actually our global aspect to this. That university is now, well, the last count was 70 different countries are represented in the subscriber base.
Well, let's talk more about it. We need to take a quick break, but then let's talk more about the university. And another thing I want to talk about too is not all the clinicians I've seen translate really well to video, but I think he has done that. I want to talk a little bit about that too. But first, Equestrian Collections is there for you this spring. You're going to be needing to replace some stuff, and some stuff that wore out last year, and you put it away, and you went, I'm going to get it out in the spring, and I'll replace it then, because we all put off everything we do. And we get it out, and it looks like crap, and you finally decide, I got to replace that, whether it's show clothing or clothing for the spring or summer for you or for your wife or for your horse or for your pony. If you're Frankie Lovato, you got to buy Popcorn a new little sheet. You can do that at equestriancollections.com. They have over 300 different brands to choose from, and that's 300 different brands of stuff, thousands and thousands of items at prices you can afford. And right now, for the listeners of the Horse Radio Network, they have a discount coupon. It's $10 off your next order of $120 or more just by putting Radio Show, all one word, Radio Show, at checkout in the coupon spot, and you'll get $10 off your next order of $120 or more, no matter what you buy. And of course, as Helena will tell you, it's coming up, going to be fly season very soon. She has great flies up there, and all of your fly.
Flies always about me.
I know. Do you have no flies at all out there in California? Do you, Debbie?
Not one.
No, I didn't think so. So if you live in Rhode Island and you need fly stuff, then you can find it at equestriancollections.com. And we thank Chris for continued support of the Horse Radio Network. Okay, I'm done, Helena. You can go now.
All right, thank you.
I've totally...
Can I continue my conversation with Debbie, please? I mean, this is all about me.
Do you need a fly swatter? Or
this is
okay?
I need one of those fly hats with the sticky tape on top.
Yeah.
Now, where were we when you interrupted me? For heaven's sakes.
I did want to say that he is great on video. That personality that we all know in person really comes out well on video, and that's not true of all the different clinicians I've seen.
Yeah, he does enjoy the medium. When the Queen asked him to write a book back in the early 90s, before Man Who Listens came out, he kept saying, "No, can I make a video? Can I make a video? I don't want to write a book." And it's a lot of work communicating. I think it's because he never says ums, ahs, really to speak of. He can pretty much just dialogue straight through. Some people would say it's because he's done it for so long, but I think he's always had a pretty good communication level, and because of all his teaching all these years, and he does come across as sincere, I think, because he lives that. He really works every day. He doesn't know a Sunday, and that's always been true growing up from a Wednesday. Every day is just to get up and do what he loves to do. So I think that comes across on video as well. It's not a job for him. It really is fun for him.
That's evident. I want to dive a little bit into some of the information that I found through the online university. One of the things that I was really concerned with, and this is in general, I have a real problem with anything that's sort of prepackaged and super slick. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, what are they trying to hide with all their pretty packaging? Mm-hmm. And I have to say, though, that actually says a lot for you and your strategies as a business manager. You have packaged the everything Monty Roberts so beautifully. But it does, I'm just a skeptic. I can't help it. So what I'm thinking is, well, how can I really do some of these things? It's like Monty's got this round pen and all kinds of tools and halters and everything that goes along with this beautiful packaging. I just have a muddy field and a very opinionated horse. So when I went to the Q&A section of the website, I was amazed at how many questions are there. And I did find other people like me who said, well, you know what? I don't have all the resources that you guys have. Mm-hmm. So how do I achieve this? You do address that, don't you?
Yeah, we do. The one thing I'll say about those Q&As that I think it's probably the most valuable part of the university, and a lot of people find it kind of second and third thing around. The Q&As we've been accumulating, and he does every single one of those every week, or sometimes we'll bank 2 or 3 if he's going to be on the road, since 2004. So there's a gob of them in there. So we wanted to put a really good search engine, a really good keyword search on there for people who they say biting. Okay, BITING, and it'll group it by the Q&A section, all the things that he's answered in a text form, and then it'll also group it by anybody in the forum that's mentioning biting, or any of the video lessons in the lesson notes and the keywords on the video biting. So if you have a particular issue, I'd go straight to the Q&A first. If you're looking at trailer loading or whatever, I would go there first. That's just me. That's the way I use the university. If somebody has a question, I think, I remember back in January of 2008. I kind of remember things that way, but I can't go find them necessarily. So I love that keyword search. And the thing that it did was it groomed people's brains over the years, because we put out a free email every week, every Wednesday. It just came out this morning.
Yep, got mine.
Talked about head shy, cinchy, girthy. And that Q&A is our labor of love to train people's brains around these concepts, because not only do we put in this week's question and answer, we put in next week's challenge question, so that'll be answered next week. But we want people to think about it. How would Monty answer this? What do you think he's going to say next week in the answer? And it gets you thinking outside the box, which is what we're trying to do for Lena, and we're trying to do for everybody out there is start to think like Monty does, in that what does that mean? You address the guruism of it. Do we want lockstep Monty brains? No, we want lockstep horse brains. We want to know how to be the most effective with our horse. And what is the first thing he says? Do you remember the first thing he says in those videos that get your brain ready for the university? Those
no,
words
I don't
from
test
Monty?
well.
Yeah, it's okay. I skip around on the thing. Some people are real lineal, they're like, okay, here's step 1, step 2, and I'll talk about that too. But he does address at the very top words from Monty. What do you need to do to get ready to really learn? The first thing he says is get right with yourself, take violence and take force out of the equation.
Okay.
So if you tell yourself, bottom line, I can't force this horse to do anything, and I can't make pain involved in any of the training process, then that leaves you with, it takes traditional horse training out of the equation really quick. And so then your brain has to default to, okay, how do I get this horse to do X, Y, Z if I can't use force or pain? And it's just more effective, but it's harder, if you can't force your kids to do things, right?
Right, it is harder.
And get Jennifer to do that by force.
Yeah, it never worked for me.
See what I mean? It's not very effective, but I mean, it works in the short term. You can create champions, and they've been that way for generations now. You can create champions through force and pain, and everybody knows one, but you don't get a willing partner out of the deal. You don't get a true partnership with your horse. And real champions are generally made through a partnership. And Dad's been involved 9 world championships in his lifetime, and that's across disciplines. So that's something that a lot of people don't know, is that he has won world championships in the show ring, Western reining, and then Arc de Triomphe winners, the thoroughbred racing industry, top of the game in that too. So how was he so effective at that? What makes him so much more effective? It's not taught in the university how to win the Arc de Triomphe, by the way. So you can't jump on there and figure out how to win a Western reining class. But you can learn the concepts behind creating a champion. And a lot of that is take force and pain out of the equation and then start learning with your athlete underneath you.
And we cannot forget the most important championship that he's ever won is he is the current reigning hottest horse dad in the world.
Horse Radio Network.
That's right.
Right.
That's correct. Thanks to Helena and Jamie. He is the reigning, and thanks to you nominating him, we can't forget that.
Yeah, see, we created a willing partner, and now he's a champion.
That's right. And they just keep coming back and doing join up with you that way, too.
I have to say, before we let you go, Debbie, I have to give a funny because, it's not really, it's a funny to me because I'm the one who's standing out there in my boots and my horse.
Oh.
One of the questions I found on the Q&A section was, after I did my keyword search, was how does a person apply join up without a round pen? Mm-hmm. And this kind of ties into Glenn's statement about how it's nice to go online and see that sometimes you are doing things right. Yeah. And Monty's answer was that the round pen is not a critical factor in applying his concepts. It's a convenient place in which to work, but you can use a square pen and, why that's not ideal and how you can change, little things that you can do to sort of create the effect of a round pen.
Yeah.
But he said, if you choose to work with horses in a wide open space, their natural tendency will be to work in very large circles, and you must be in very good shape to go the distance with them. Now, I'm standing out there,
exercise
with a lunge line or a lunge whip, or to get my horse to make circles in this huge
down
field.
To the beach in no time.
And he's using the whole damn field, and I am running like an idiot, and I'm
Can you hear him laughing too? You can sort of hear him chuckling a little bit.
Giggling. That horse can giggle like nobody.
Can you videotape it next time they do that?
And I'm saying to myself, I could lose a couple pounds, so I'm just going to run. If he uses the whole field, I'll just run a little bit. Well, of course, after like 5 minutes, I'm huffing and puffing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to go run in and check my computer and see if there's an easier way to do this. I must be doing something wrong. So I sit down and I type in my keywords, and sure enough, that last line comes up. Basically, you got to be in really good shape. And, it's like, okay, I am doing this the right way, but it's not easy. You're not going to go and click on a video or find a Q&A answer and your problem's going to be solved. You need to put the hard work into it.
Yeah, you got to get a few wet saddle blankets, as we like to say. Not necessarily. You don't have to wear the saddle blankets when you're out in the field, but you need to get your hours in the round pen. And it doesn't. A lot of people are going to round pens these days, but we always just say, look, if you've got a sand paddock, you can put some jump poles in the corners, some bales in the corners. The idea that you just mentioned, you picked up on it right away, is that the flight animal travels in circles, and he discovered a lot of his fine-tune work with the deer that he works with on the farm, because their flight mechanism is like 100-fold over horses.
And they get there fast.
Oh, yeah. They disappear fast, too. But they always move in big circles. That's just the nature of the flight animal. And so keeping that energy flowing is the reason that you tend to keep saying go to a round pen, But like you said, in a field, they'll still go in a big circle. It just happens to be a very big circle. Or like you did with Shy Boy out on, tens of thousands of acres, the flight mechanism was even bigger. And you have to wait for that bend to start to come, and it did, and it will work for you. It's just that a lot of people want to say, I don't have, instead of just working with the nature of the horse. Again, back to natural horsemanship. Anytime you're working with the nature of the horse, you make your work easier.
Well, Debbie, you guys have been kind enough to provide a coupon for the listeners of the Horse Radio Network. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's a promo code, and you can. I don't know if you want to put this in the lesson.
Yeah, we'll put
notes.
it in our show notes. And we'll also post it on. Can we post it on Facebook too for all our listeners?
Sure, please do.
Okay.
Please do. What it is, it's 7 days that Glenn and I arranged to have for listeners of a free jump on the university. So when you get on there, you have access to everything for 7 days. So once you click on the promo code. And I'll say it right now. It's www.montyrobertsuniversity.com/promotions/scoop, SCOOP, like the radio. So if you do that, if you click on the link in the show notes, or if you put that into your browser bar, then you will see a registration page. Just register there, click submit, and the clock is running 7 days free, 24/7. You can jump on there anytime. You've got a profile on there, and we hope you stay on there. We hope that you find it so valuable that you don't want to get off. And so there's like 125 plus lessons now on there, and the lessons are available to you by jumping on there. The lesson notes are there. The audio downloads are there, and you can actually offload it. Oh, and Access All Areas is this video documentary that was done in the UK. That's available behind there, too. It's a TV show that we put on there free to the subscribers on the university. And you be one if you use that promo code.
All right. Well, we certainly appreciate you doing that as well. And Debbie, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. And Monty, what country is he in currently?
He is in Austria. He has one more event there, and then he is home to do some clinics at Flagstaff Farms in Solvang, California. So I hope we get to see some people out there, too.
Cool.
Does he plan? I checked his schedule, but I don't see him anywhere near the East Coast in the coming year. How come?
I haven't been out there. We were in Massachusetts for the Equine Affair in November, but we don't have any plans on the boards to be back east now.
It's the flies, Alina.
Yeah, it must be the flies.
I guess that means I'll have to go to California.
We have no flies out here in California. No.
Thank you, Debbie. We
Thank
appreciate
you so much for the opportunity.
Always
Thank
a
you
pleasure.
both.
All right,
Nice to
bye-bye.
talk to you. Bye.
Perfect, Debbie. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Well, that was fun. That was always a pleasure to talk to Debbie. She's so smart, so articulate, and so intelligent, and she just knows her stuff.
She really does. She's a fabulous businesswoman, and I have to say that I give the Monty Roberts universe my stamp of approval because, yes, it is a business. There's no doubt about that. It's a very well-run business, and I was just saying to you offline, Glenn, that if there are people who are making money in horses, this is the way you should make money in horses. By teaching and training and spreading kindness, not by whipping your 16 two-hand warm blood over a 6-foot jump. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I agree. And she is the one that really has helped drive that business. But, Monty, we talk about it being business and making money, and I'm sure they do quite well. But Monty doesn't care about any of that. He
doesn't.
loves going to work every day. And whether it's doing videos or teaching clinics, it's just, every time I've ever met him, and it's been many times now over the last couple of years, he and Debbie, it's just so cool.
And anybody who takes a few minutes to actually watch these videos, or if you get the chance to meet Monty in person or talk to him, you'll see that he is so genuine. And obviously his training is very effective. It's very useful. Give it a minute, because like me, I was like, poo-poo. No, I don't like anything that's prepackaged. And then through work, I actually had to do some research into this, and I found that, hey, you know what? I really like this guy.
Yeah, and anybody that's listened to this show for the last couple of years knows that Helene is a skeptic of all skeptics. So if she's saying that, it means something.
And I believe that when you have a good thing up front, you need to have an even better thing, an even better machine behind that. And I believe that Debbie's management of the business behind Monty Roberts is a really good thing. She's a businesswoman with a lot of integrity. And I think that shows up in everything that they produce.
Well, and I wanted to say, too, that this is not a paid commercial for they're not paying us for this.
I know, it sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, we asked them to come on and do this show. But
that's the thing about us. That's the thing about Staple Scoop is we seek out people and companies and things that we like, that we appreciate. And, we could sit here and we could report on all the crappy things that's happening in the world. We can give you news and gossip and stuff like that. But I would much rather talk about things that we really believe in, that we think are great, and we want to share with you.
I'll tell you all the Helena gossip later, everybody.
There's always Helena gossip.
Hey,
usually involves like blood and guts.
Speaking of people that know how to run a business, there is nobody that knows how to run a business better than Uncle Jimmy. And I ran into Uncle Jimmy. We were walking through Equine Affair, and I passed the one booth, and I saw this cowboy hat from the back and a guy about 6'8" tall. And I said, that has to be Uncle Jimmy. So I went over and tapped him on the shoulder, hoping like heck it was Uncle Jimmy. And sure enough, it was Uncle Jimmy. Uncle Jimmy was there selling his Uncle Jimmy's licky things and his Uncle Jimmy's hanging balls and his sugar-free hanging balls. And, of course, Uncle Jimmy's has the best line of horse treats out there today. They're carried at most of your major tack shops or minor tack shops, or you can go right to his website at uncle-jimmys.com or uncle-jimmys.com to buy his products. But he handed us this bumper sticker. I teased this earlier in the show. He handed us this bumper sticker. And what it says, it's a pink bumper sticker. And in white letters, real big, it says, lick this. And underneath, it says real small, lickything.com. So if you go to lickything.com, and everybody do that right now. Go to lickything.com. I spelled it wrong.
Of course you did. You're a geek.
Licky.
It redirects to?
It'll take you to Uncle Jimmy's website, I believe.
Oh, I love the font for Licky Thing.
I know. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
So it's lickything.com, and what they're doing is this is a horse treat that is made to put in a holder, and it's made of the best stuff, and it comes in a multitude of flavors. And it has crunchy carrot and mojo molasses and cool mint and black cherry and candy apple and banana blast.
I'm hungry.
We talked about this in the morning show the other day. I am shocked at how many horses like bananas.
There was a study done not too long ago, and I think it was either in Horse Illustrated or Practical Horseman, where they showed the top 5 flavors that horses prefer, and banana was number 2.
I know. I was shocked. And they apparently eat them with the peels on. They just eat the whole thing.
They are horses.
Yeah, I guess after all, we shouldn't have to peel our bananas for our horses, huh?
No, but monkeys peel bananas.
Well, that's true. Yeah, monkeys do peel them. And then they play with the peels. So, Licky Things, he just has so many different products on there now. He started out with the Uncle Jimmy's Hanging Balls, and now it's only one of many products. Do you know the one he says that's selling so well right now that was a complete shock? I'm
going to guess.
Yeah.
It's the sugar-free.
No.
Oh, what?
The Pecker Wrecker.
Really?
The Pecker Wrecker, and we're not swearing, we're not being vulgar here. He has a product named the Pecker Wrecker, and it's a chicken feed treat. So you hang it up for your chickens out in the chicken coop, and they peck on it, and that's why it's called the Pecker Wrecker, because they like it so much, they just keep pecking on it. And yeah, he sent some out with Jamie to her farm because she has 5 chickens, and they absolutely love it. The Pecker Wrecker is becoming very popular. He's actually working on doing one now. It doesn't have a name for it yet, but it's going to be a treat for household birds in the cage. So he's going to do a treat for that too. So if you're looking for a treat for your horse that they're going to love and it's going to take them a while to eat, they won't be able to devour it in 2 minutes, then Uncle Jimmy's product line is for you at uncle-jimmys.com. And thank you, Uncle Jimmy, for a good time and for hanging out for a while over there at Equine Affair. Well, this has been a fun show talking about all this kind of stuff.
It has. I can't wait to go back to Equus Online University and find more solutions to my problems.
And don't forget, you can find the coupon code at on our website at stablescoop.com on this week's show notes, or we'll also post it on our Facebook page. And it's MontyRobertsUniversity.com/promotions/scoop. And we really appreciate you listening to us every week. We have the best listeners at the Horse Radio Network ever.
We do.
And we would like you to comment over at stablescoop.com or send us an email. We've gotten several emails here recently, people liking the shows. So we really appreciate that too.
And you know what? I need emails. I need my ego boosted a little bit.
Yeah, Helena does.
I need emails. Send me email at helena@horseradionetwork.com. Let me know what you think. Even if you hate me, that's fine. Just send me mail. I'll take anything.
Yeah.
I'll take hate mails.
We're responsible. Jennifer and I have to send her a loving email every day. And it's getting old for the last 2 years doing that.
You gotta lie. I tell my husband has to tell one big fat lie every day. This is what I tell Gracie. He makes up one every morning. Grace and I wake her up and get ready for school. And Peter comes in and he does his BFL for the day, the big fat lie for the day.
Well, at least you get it over with right away.
Well, you know what? You're right up there too. Big fat lie. So I got 2 big fat liars every day I have to deal with.
Well, and also check out our other show we do, Tack and Habit Radio Show. You're going to hear about some socks that Helena absolutely loved. And also a little contraption to help you out at horse shows. So you can find that at Tack and Habit right now, tackandhabit.com. We'd appreciate you listening to that. And, of course, you can listen to all of our shows at horseradionetwork.com. And we have some fun ones coming up. We have the Cowgirls. We're going to talk to the people from, what organization was that again?
Canadian Cowgirl, something or other.
Canadian Cowgirls, but then the one you set up, the Rescue.
Oh, New Vocations.
New Vocations. We're going to talk to them coming up. And also, I have a guy you're going to want to meet. Did you ever see Night at the Museum?
Yes.
You remember the character that Robin Williams played? What was it?
Custer?
On the horse, Custer, one of those on the horse there. And he used to come to life at night. Well, I found his stunt double and also the guy that provided the horses. So he has horses for movies, and he also is the stunt double and the riding parts for movies. And we're going to talk to him coming up too.
Do you know that's like my I want to be that when I grow up.
I want to be a double?
I want to be, yes, I want to ride horses in movies. I want to be the person who rides for like Jennifer Lopez when she's too afraid.
Okay.
Yeah. I know. Well, there's a little bit more to that actually. I should find out about that.
I just had this vision going through my head, that's all.
What? Me in a wedding dress galloping
Jennifer
off through
Lopez actually.
I should have known.
You brought it up.
I did. I know my mistake.
And of course, the one view that every guy wants to see of Jennifer Lopez is riding away from us.
Yes, so. I know. Good heavens.
Aren't you sorry you brought that up now?
I am. I'm sorry every day that I join forces with you and Horse Radio Network. Every day. And yet, I come back.
You come back every week.
And I sit down in front of my red fuzzy microphone. Who knows why. Many, many thanks to our listeners. We do adore you, especially when you write to us. So don't forget to follow us on Facebook under Stable Scoop. We also send out tweets. Our Twitter. Here's how. I know. I was going to say Twitter. I was going to say our handle. That's way back to CB days.
Yeah, that'd be CB days there.
Did you have a CB?
Yes, I did. And I'm trying to remember what my name was. And I absolutely cannot remember what my name was.
My dad totally he was huge into it, and he got me into it.
Because we all had nicknames that were really stupid.
Yeah, they were handles.
Yeah, handles. That's right. That's what they were called. Yep.
So anyway, our Twitter account is
I was such a geek. I had a home CB unit with the big antenna outside.
Loser. My father, up until, I would say, even just a year ago, had the big antenna on the back of his car. He had cell phones, he had everything, but he couldn't let go. He always had his CB in the car. And, on some long trips, that CB came in handy a couple of times.
If you could stand the language, the trucker language has gotten very foul on the CB nowadays. I heard it the other day. Somebody actually had one still. I was like, oh, my God.
He used to have to change the channel quite often. And he'd be like, oh, you don't need to hear that.
Right after you heard it.
I'm 19. I can hear it.
Let's just get out of here.
All right. So anyway, you can find us. You can find our tweets at Horse Radio, or you can follow me at Helena_BEE.
This is fun, Helena. Thank you very much. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.